Before we commence, there are some empty seats here, full seats empty. If anybody, and this is an hour-long service, so if anybody would like to come forward and take those seats, please feel free to do so. I'd like to invite you to join me in saying the Lord's Prayer to open our service today. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. Amen. Hello everybody, and welcome to the Hillside Chapel. My name is Gabe, and it's my very great honour to be here with all of you today as your celebrant, as we gather to acknowledge and to mourn the passing of Mr. Mark Jared Meyn, a man who'd been loved in his lifetime as a husband, a father, and a cherished family member, as a valued friend and community member. We gather to pay tribute, to honour, and to celebrate Mark's life among you. So on behalf of Mark's family, I'd like to welcome all of you. Thank you all so very much for coming together today to share in this service. Thank you for your gestures of sympathy and love and kindness, and for your thoughts, and especially for your support towards his family and, of course, towards each other during this time of sadness and loss. I'd like to welcome those who are not in our chapel but are joining us via live stream. All those friends and family near and far who for any number of reasons couldn't be here today, we welcome you, and we hope that by watching this service online it brings comfort to you wherever you're watching from. Our thoughts are with you as well today. I would like at this time to acknowledge, on behalf of the family with gratitude, Mark's care team, in particular to Ange and Sanjeev, and also to the staff of Gosford District Hospital, all those people, for the love and the care and the support they gave not just to Mark but towards the family during the time he was in their care. There's no true way to prepare yourself for the passing of someone who's been so fundamental to your lives, especially of a parent, and especially when he is gone too soon. The loss is felt in ways that no words can hope to describe. Mark Meyn passed on Thursday, the 31st of July, in his 60th year. His 6 decades of life had been served as the precious son of his parents, and he was a brother to Steve. He was the loved brother-in-law of Joe and uncle to their children, Leah and Taylor, and his grandniece or great-niece, Isla. He'd been loved as a husband, but most importantly, to Mark, the love that he gave and felt as a dad was most important. That he gave to Rhiannon and Jack, to Riley and Eliza. He'd known the joy and friendship of lots of people, as seen by so many of you here today. Today we'll celebrate the man that you all knew as a character, a real larrikin, someone who without even trying could light up a room with his presence and especially with his humour. Mark loved a laugh. He was funny, and he was definitely the life of any party. Mark's children described him to me as true blue, loved a beer, loved footy, loved his mates, and loved his dogs. In fact, he loved all dogs. And tigers, Balmain to be precise. Today's service for Mark will be conducted in 2 parts. Firstly, here in this chapel service, where we will be hearing tributes of love from his family, where we will watch a visual tribute, a slideshow put together by his family and set to some of his favourite music. We'll honour the life that Mark lived while we're here together in this chapel, and then in the second part of the service, Mark's immediate family only will go from here and gather again at our park and we will lay him to rest during the second part, the committal service. And so to get our tributes underway, I would like to invite Steve and Joe to come forward.
Well, first of all, I'd just like to thank everyone for being here. Wonderful turnout. Thank you all for being here today to celebrate Mark's Gerard Meyn, also known as Dick, as we all know. He was the second son of Bernie and Maureen, born on the 3rd of September 1964, a younger brother to me. We grew up in a very happy family home in Parklands Road, North Ryde. Mark was a character, very quick-witted, a great sense of humour. As kids, we were always outdoors with the neighbourhood kids playing cricket, footy, skateboarding, among other things. Mark was one of the youngest in the street, and he was always doing dicky things, which always got a laugh out of us all. This was the beginning of his nickname, Dick. Mark went to Spirit of Sanctus at North Ryde, then going on to Holy Cross College in Year 5, where he made lifelong friends. Mark loved his sport, especially playing footy for Holy Cross, gathering numerous trophies and pennants, and even winning a state final. He also loved playing golf up at North Ryde Golf Club and became a member at Wyong when he moved to the coast, playing in the Roosters comp on a Sunday. Tennis was another favourite of his, playing with Dad and myself and friends on a regular basis. He would flog us all. He would have a go at anything, soccer, surfing, dirt bike riding, he loved them all. And of course, was good at everything that he did and very competitive. We had many great family holidays, especially the ones going away to Fingal Bay with our country cousins in a holiday house right on the beach. When Mark left school in Year 10, he became a plumber and worked all over Sydney and on some of the high-end homes in Sydney's eastern suburbs. The old Rancho Hotel at North Ryde on a Thursday night and a Friday arvo became a big part of our lives. It's where we would meet all our mates, have a beer or two, maybe more, and plan what we were going to do on the weekends. There were no mobile phones back then. Where was I up to? Yeah, thanks. We have some great memories together of our early trips to the Bathurst races, camping up on the hill, watching the races during the day and sitting around a fire drinking with all the boys at night. Mark also travelled overseas with a couple of mates, buying an old V-dub combi and travelling around Europe. As most know, Mark was married twice. First to Sue, they built a home at Carryong, had two beautiful children, Rhiannon and Jack. Lost my spot. When they went their separate ways, Mark moved back to Sydney to live with Dad for a while. He eventually met Colleen and they moved to the Central Coast, buying a home in Berkeleyville, marrying and having two more beautiful kids, Riley and Eliza. Mark loved spending time with family, especially every Christmas together or birthdays, in our backyards at either house. With lots of food and games to play together, it was always a competition, whether it be playing bulls, darts, table tennis, or just passing the footy around, or swimming in his pool. When his kids started playing sport, he was always supportive, taking them to the training and games. Footy was a big part of Mark's life, and he made some good friendships with the Maggie mob that Riley played for. In 2020, Mark and the family realised that something was not right. Following numerous tests, he was diagnosed with early onset Alzheimer's. And this year, in this same year, I was doing a bike trip to Darwin with some mates, and we convinced him to come along with Jono in his ute. It was the best adventure, and to do it with my brother, making so many memories that I'll have for life. He had a smile on his face every day and he could forget for a while about his Alzheimer's. Mark fought this battle for 5 years with the help of his amazing children, family and friends. He never lost his sense of humour, making jokes, being Dick, and making us laugh right till the end. Rhiannon, Jack, Riley and Eliza, your dad was so proud of you. So proud of you all and what you have achieved in your lives up to now. Dick, you were the best dad to your children, a good friend to Colin and Sue, a great uncle and a loved brother-in-law, and my brother and my best mate. Mark, we bid you farewell with heavy hearts for your life. We bid you farewell with heavy hearts, but thank you for your life and for the time we were able to spend it with you. We will always be reminded of you through your children and ask that you keep the same watchful eye over them as you did in life. Rest in peace, mate. Rest in peace.
Thank you so much, Steve and Joe. And now I'd like to invite Rhiannon, Jack, Riley and Eliza to come on up.
I truly believe I was the lucky one when I was chosen to be Dad's daughter. He taught me not to take life too seriously, to always have a laugh, to love footy with a passion, to enjoy a cold beer on a hot day, and most importantly, the value of family. The least useful thing he taught me was how to whistle, because I wouldn't stop whistling in kindergarten the next day and I got detention. Every memory I have of my dad is filled with laughter, the kind that left me with aching cheeks from smiling too much and sore stomach muscles from cracking up to his hilarious moments. Dad had a way of turning even the simplest moments into the best kind of day, and I promise, Dad, alongside my siblings, we'll keep that laughter going. Whether you knew my dad for years or just a moment, chances are he told you a joke and made you laugh too. I'd like to encourage that today especially, over a schooner of beer or a glass of red wine, that you talk about and share those moments with him so we can smile and laugh together. It's exactly what he would have wanted. I want to sincerely thank everyone who has supported me, my dad, and my family during this time and over the last 5 years since his diagnosis. I'm deeply grateful for every moment I shared with him, and his memory will continue to guide and inspire me every day. Thank you.
My dad's name is Mark Meyn. Over the course of his life, he also went by many other names. First there was son, brother, cousin, then he became a friend, a student, even a skateboarder for a little bit. He was known as a football player, a surfer, a golfer, a world traveller and a plumber, which explains his sense of humour, and even a husband. And somewhere along those times, he was given a name perfectly fitting for his personality, Dick. But it was in 1992 where Dad was given his most important name to date, Dad. Over the last week, I've had the task of collecting photos of Dad, young and old, to make the slideshow that we'll play today. Throughout this time, I had the obvious realisation that Dad hasn't always been Dad, and that he lived an entire life before having children. From raising puppies at Popo's, burying the neighbour's cat, going for joyrides at a young age with his older brother and his mates, to abandoning a combi in Europe with Trog, to smoking something he probably shouldn't have been in Thailand, and to weekends causing a ruckus at Bathurst. It's made me wish I knew Dad before children. Would we get along? Would we travel together? How many nights will we spend at the ranch together? Dad absolutely loved Rocky and Rambo. They weren't just movies to him, they were stories about grit, determination, and never giving up, no matter how hard life hit. In so many ways, Dad carried those qualities into his own life. Like Rocky, he was the underdog who would keep getting back up, no matter how many times he was knocked down. He believed in hard work, in fighting for the people he loved, and in keeping your heart strong, even when things got tough. And like Rambo, he had this quiet toughness to him, a strength you might not see at first glance, but it was always there. He protected his family fiercely, and when challenges came his way, he faced them head on. Even through his battle with Alzheimer's, that fighter's spirit never left him. Rocky 1 is all about going the distance, and Dad had many things try to stop him from doing just that. The Alzheimer's diagnosis, the barbecue explosion that had him in a rescue helicopter, a suspected heart attack, and even 2 ex-wives. Jokes aside, one of the best things to ever happen to me was having a stepmom who gave me 2 amazing siblings who became such an important part of my life. During Dad's sickness, my mum Sue and Colleen worked side by side to care for Dad and support our family. Their kindness, teamwork and love carried us through some of the hardest days, and I will always be grateful for that. I love you, Mum. Love you, Colleen. I have many fond memories with Dad. I remember the excitement of the 2005 grand final, watching the game in the top room of the old house. I remember when Riley and Eliza were born and I got to witness the love and care that would have been given to me as a newborn. I remember watching new friendships flourish through the Maggie Mob days and Dad finally getting to live out his footy dad dreams. Sorry, Dad. And I'm not cutting my hair either. I will always remember how Dad would want to steal my jackets and how much he loved wearing Get That. But when I try to think of my most favourite memories, I often think of the following 3. The first one, when Dad and Colleen split up and Dad moved out into his own little place, there was rarely a day that would pass without one of his 4 children stopping by. I remember without any specific organisation, Riley, Liza and myself would go to Dad's for dinner and to watch the footy. Steak, potatoes, some greens, a wine for Dad and hours of laughs. We would hustle Dad for not keeping his Datsun, make constant jokes about Dad being single and it finally being time to hit up his teenage sweetheart Mandy again, and listen to countless stories of what we thought was an imaginary friend because we'd never met him, Ricky Galuzzo. If you're here today, come and introduce yourself. Dad always managed to pull out some chocolate or dessert from the cupboard. When Dad moved into his Sil home, it left a similar hole in my heart after saying goodbye to him this past week because my favourite tradition had come to an end. The second memory, during COVID times, we took advantage of the 10-kilometre exercise radius and met at Arimba footy ovals every day for what felt like 3 months, non-stop. We'd lay in the grass, kick balls, play tennis, tell stories. We would bring Schooner and Bing and play together until the sun went down. And the third one, lastly, my favourite memory, and without a doubt, the happiest I had ever seen my dad was any time spent at Steve and Jono's with our beautiful cousins, who we love so much. Over the years, the Meyn goodbye became a thing, and my cousins and my siblings knew that it would be at least 45 minutes after the first goodbye before we would actually leave. In Dad's final moments, I made sure to get him to tell me who I was, followed by an I love you, no matter how many times I had to get it out of him. I even asked the question in the last 2 weeks of who he liked better, Rocky or Rambo, which finally he answered me with Rambo. So before I have a Meyn goodbye now, I'll wrap this up. Thank you to everyone for being here. To all those who were in Dad's life, he would be overwhelmed with the turnout today. I'm grateful for his carers and hospital staff, friends and family, my siblings, and most importantly, my little sister Liz, who spent so much of her time with Dad and without a doubt made him so proud of the person she is becoming. Truly Dad's favourite. Cheers, Dad. I'll always take you with me and remember the person that you are. Love you, Dad.
Sorry.
On behalf of my family, I want to thank you all for being here today. To me, this is not just a goodbye. This is a celebration of a man who had the rare ability to walk into any room and make it brighter, often with a joke that was just on the edge of appropriate. That was, and still is, my hero, my dad, Mark Meyn. He lived with humour, loved without hesitation, and willingness to help anyone out. One of the earliest memories I have of Dad was that he was a very hard-working man. He'd get home late from a rough day and still wanted to challenge me with kicking the footy, bowling me a fast ball, a passing competition through the cubby house windows, or having a relaxing afternoon with a packet of savoury shapes on the outdoor setting. Dad taught me might be a generous word, attempted to teach me how to fix up stuff around the house at a very young age. The first being, he gave me a brush with a bucket of water and made me paint the bricks while Dad painted the house. He included me with every little thing to make me a better man. I'd then grow up to see that Dad, still working hard during the week, on his weekends, was also willing to help family and friends when they needed a hand. These memories didn't just teach me about being a man that can fix or do stuff around the house, but it did teach me that success comes with hard work, but also the value of connecting and helping people. I'm sure some of you have been impacted by Dad with this trait, but also saw the plumber's crack showing while he was down under the house or kitchen bench. Like I said, Dad was my hero. He would tell me many stories of his childhood, from playing soccer to then footy, getting into mischief in the school ground of Holy Cross, his time away meeting up with his cousins in Wagga, or having multiple beers at the El Rancho Hotel or on top of the hill at Bathurst. I heard many stories from these times that I cannot repeat here, especially from the ranch days and Dad assisting, or should I say Steve, saving Steve from a mountain of a man at the top of Bathurst. I don't know. Again, Dad would then get this nickname that would sum up his childhood, Dick, short for dickhead. I assumed that he would always try to be like this, or try to be like his older brother and cousin. Dad did not let go of this nickname. It'd be the funny one around the table. From Christmas lunch to Maggie Mob functions, Dad would make people laugh, or sometimes sick with the way his farts were at the end of the night, Muzz? Family meant everything to Dad. The many times we'd all be together at home, Uncle Steve's or somewhere else. Dad would love it the most. Many times Dad would show off his classy skills of ping pong, bocce, or the ultimate fighting challenge in the garage. Most importantly, Dad loved and respected all the times when he was with his family and friends. He enjoyed every moment because that's what Dad was all about, just taking it easy and having fun. My sporting career started in the backyard. Dad would always be my biggest supporter, but also my toughest competitor. Since the early days, Dad would spend a lot of time teaching me the Benji Marshall step, the Shane Warne spin bowl, or the Tiger Woods swing. I remember the day I won age champion zone athletics. That afternoon, Dad came to pick me up from footy training, which, you bet he did, challenged me to a sprint to the other side of the field. We took off, but unbeknown to us, the first coach that would help me out with my footy was walking up to us, Butchie. He then sprinted off after us. Dad beat me in the sprint, by the way. But Butchie caught up to us and asked Dad if I wanted to join his team for a gala day. During this team would start a great mateship for Dad, with Butchie and Muzz. Dad loved watching footy. Years later, myself and the two other families would join the Maggie mob, where Dad, Mum and Eliza would again meet great families and friends that will last forever. Dad loved watching me play footy, but he also enjoyed the Maggie mob just as much. From dinners at Club Tuggerah to footy trips away, Dad would always bring up the good old times of the Maggie mob events. Even Kel running up and down the sideline with the flag. Dad just loved it. I idolised my dad from a very young age. I heard many stories about how good Dad was at many things, but predominantly sports. With this came a lot of pressure on the way I played, especially when I started making rep teams. There was a time where Dad would shout out, "Bob," when I was playing. Parents would look at Dad like, what is he on about? But to me, when Dad would yell out, "Bob," I knew that I wasn't doing something right. This was his way of saying, get in there, have a run, or tackle harder. The last memory that I'll cherish forever was my return game after my ACL reconstruction. All my family, including my partner and her family, were there. But most importantly of all, my greatest coach and competitor was there, Dad. Standing there, head to toe in Norse gear. After the game, I waved to him with tears in my eyes, ran straight to him and gave him a big hug. To me, Dad and I were in the ring, fighting our own battles. The saying shared by Dad many times growing up was, "Let me tell you something you already know." The Rocky quote, or "Come on, hit me harder," or "Yo, Adrian, I did it." When times were tough, I'd imagine Dad telling me these quotes over and over again. He was full of them. Funny enough, these quotes were the last words I said to Dad before he passed. The past couple of years, Dad suffered from this horrible disease. With this came many challenges for him, from cooking food to mowing lawns, but this didn't stop Dad from giving it a go. During these years, I'd go over to Dad's place to give him a helping hand, like he taught me when I was a kid. Would spend hours mowing the lawns, doing the gardening, then enjoying the savoury shapes while throwing a border schooner. Eliza would then get Dad singing, most likely to Fleetwood Mac, in the kitchen while we all cooked dinner, mostly outside as he loved a steak. Dad always loved anything and everything would do for him. He became an occurring customer to Mum's house, where he would enjoy a home-cooked meal and walk out the door with an ice cream in his hand with a cheeky grin on his face, or our Monday morning coffee dates with a bacon egg roll or a banana bread, which he would thank everyone and tell him it was the best meal he's ever had. He never lost his personality when it came to his way of saying thank you. The raised eyebrows, the wide opening eyes, and the tone of voice, he would say, "Thank you." On the Monday before Dad passed, I went to hospital, and with the help of the nurses, we got Dad out of bed and lifted into the chair. I'd always get Dad to say thank you to the nurses. Dad would then go on and say his very last words, "Thank you." I then took Dad outside into the sun, which he closed his eyes and fell asleep. So Dad, your last words mean a lot to me, but on behalf of all the people here, your family, friends, Dick, Mark, Dad, we thank you for being a great mate, a loving husband to my mum, and the best dad to us kids. I started by talking about Dad's way of expressing his humour, love for everyone around him, and that's what I'll remember most. How fully and passionately he lived. That's the legacy he leaves us, to love deeply, work hard, and always find time to laugh. Dad, you'll always be my best coach and biggest competitor throughout my life, and also my best mate. Love you forever. Rest in peace.
Today, we gather to remember and celebrate the life of my beautiful dad, man A man whose spirit was as bright as his smile and whose presence brought warmth, laughter and love to everyone around him. Dad just had this way of making everyone feel comfortable. His sense of humour was quirky, but it was always real, and somehow he always knew how to lighten the mood. Whether it was one of his classic dad jokes or an unexpected dance move in the kitchen, he could take the most ordinary moment and make it feel like something you'd never forget. To me, he wasn't just my dad, he was my best friend and my biggest supporter. He taught me the value of loyalty, kindness and working hard without even needing to say much. He led by example with quiet strength and unwavering dedication to the people he loved. Some of my favourite memories with Dad are the simple everyday ones, the kind that stick with you forever, like cooking dinner together where the meal often turned into a performance, with Dad belting out songs and using the spatula as a microphone while busting down the moves. Or our Sunday quick trip to Bunnings, which always turned into an adventure, wandering every aisle, buying nothing but a sausage sanger, and then heading to Tuggerah for the bargains we never actually bought. We usually came home with nothing but the $3 cinnamon donuts, which we'd eat before Mum got home. Even in life's hardest moments, Dad had an incredible ability to lift others up. I'll never forget the day he was diagnosed with Alzheimer's. I was at work feeling overwhelmed when he showed up and took me to the Thai place next door. And in typical Dad fashion, he made me laugh by sticking chopsticks up his nose. Because he knew I needed that more than anything. That's just who he was, thoughtful, funny, and full of heart. But beyond the laughter, Dad was deeply loving and a resilient man. He faced life's challenges with courage and humility. He didn't complain, he didn't quit, he simply kept going for us, his family. His love for his family was the foundation of everything he did. It was constant, unconditional, and strong enough to carry us through anything. He told us often how much he loved us, and he made sure he knew how proud he was, not just in the big moments, but in the everyday ones too. Whether it was a phone call, a hug, or just a look, he never held back in showing us how much we meant to him. Even though he's no longer here in the way we want him to be, that love hasn't gone anywhere. It lives on in our memories and in how we look after one another because he taught us how. His love built something strong enough to last, and we carry that with us every day. Dad and I had a connection like no other. Some might say I was the favourite, and honestly, Dad would have agreed. It's true. Not even in secret, he'd say it with a cheeky grin right in front of everyone. We had this special bond full of inside jokes, side glances, and the occasional team up to stir the pot enough to make the other children roll their eyes. It was the kind of connection that didn't need much explaining. We just got each other. I want to thank everyone who was a part of Dad's life, especially those who supported him over the past 5 years. To our family, friends, his carers, and the hospital staff who looked after him with such patience and kindness, thank you. Your care meant the world to him and to us. Knowing he was surrounded by love, even in the toughest times, is something we'll never forget. Thank you for everything, Dad. I'll carry your love with me every day. You'll never be forgotten, not even for a second. I know you're at peace now, and I hope you know just how deeply loved you were, and always will be. This isn't a goodbye, it's a see you later, mate. Until we meet again, Dad. Love from your baby, Liz.
Good job.
Thank you.
Well done.
Thank you, Rhiannon, Jack, Riley and Eliza for such beautiful, beautiful tributes. And now we will sit back just for a moment, take a bit of a breath, but we will enjoy some more memories, another beautiful tribute put together by his family. This is Mark's life story in photographs with music. Thank you. Family and friends, today in this service we have acknowledged, honoured, paid our respects to and celebrated a life lived in the pure joy of family. There are some lines in a poem that say, "You can't judge a biography by its length or by the number of its pages, only by the richness of its contents. And you can't judge a song by its length or by the number of its notes, only by the way it touches and lifts your soul." Such is the story of the life of Mark Meyn. In his 60 years, he created the most loving family, children who will carry his legacy and pass that on in time to his grandchildren. He filled his life with joy and laughter, with family, friends, and community. He may leave this life being remembered as a larrikin, but definitely as a lovable and greatly, deeply loved larrikin. And for that, we can only say the deepest and most heartfelt thank you, Mark, for all that you were and all that you gave in your lifetime. And so now this concludes our chapel service for Mark today. He will now be carried in the loving hands of his family out to the awaiting hearse, and then he'll be taken to the private committal service for his immediate family only. On behalf of Mark's family, I would like to thank you all so much for coming together to share in this service with them. And they invite you to go on ahead of them to the Chalet Beach Golf Club and await their arrival soon after, and at that time to join them for some light refreshments, to share some memories and some time together with them there. So I would like to thank you all for coming today to share in this service. I would like to thank everybody who joined us via live stream. I hope this service has brought some comfort to you. On behalf of the family, I would like to thank Lisa and the team at Creightons and here in the Hillside Chapel for the work that they have done to support the family to deliver the service today. Of course, at this time, I would like to thank the family very much for allowing me such a very great honour as to be part of this time with you. Thank you so much. And now we will play for you the final piece of music. And in this moment, just be here in this moment. This great crowd of loving people, great friends and family, and hold your memories of Mark. Thank you so much.